Okay, so this is gonna be my review for chapter 54 for Reckoning of Ragnarok. So obviously the first part of the chapter is the start with after the end of the battle between Buddha and Haijun. So Buddha have defeated Haijun in chapter 53, and they obviously say farewell to Zero. He that helped him again in the battle against Haijun. So then they come to the hospital, and obviously Buddha tells Brunhilde that he wants some cola, and then he collapses and have to be rushed to the emergency room that should have to save him. And then we come to Odin finding Beelzebub, and he said it was you all alone to do it, all this kind of experiments on Zero to bring him to be Haijun with the specific demon worm he stopped in the ear of Zero and all this kind of thing. Here comes my speculation, and I think the guy that we see look like Odin talking with Beelzebub in his laboratorium is not Odin. I think this guy is disguised Loki disguised as Odin, because we know that Loki can disguise to different gods. For example, he disguised himself as Thor, and we even know that when he disguised to that person, he even have their weapons on him. So his whole disguise will be that person he disguised himself to. So when Odin say to Beelzebub, this battle cannot be disturbed, that I have waiting for so long for this. What I think Loki means is that he have Beelzebub and Loki have planned so long for the end of the guard. Obviously, Reckoning of Ragnarok. So this is what I think what Loki means. So I think this guy can talk with Beelzebub is not Odin. Is Odin Loki in disguise as Odin? Yeah. So they talk, and then obviously we come to the VIP room with the guards Ares, Hermes, Zeus, and Hades, and all of them know that obviously Buddha is very strong, so they have to find some very strong opponents next for the guards, because now obviously it's not looking so good for the guard, and obviously Zeus are very, very, very angry, and he go in rampage and tells we have to win in any cost. We just have to win, no matter what. We have to win. And first, Hermes, obviously this is the fun part of the chapter. Hermes looks at Ares, and Ares thinks that he should be the next guard to fight in the arena, and before he stretch up his hand, Hades say, I should do it, and obviously Zeus wonder why. That is a stupid question, and Hades obviously breaks his eye patch with his hand, and then obviously this is revenge for my brother Poseidon. And obviously when he breaks his eye patch, we see a similarity with Hades and Poseidon's. Obviously Hades and Poseidon are more similar to each other. So what I think here is that Poseidon was really looking up to Hades. That Poseidon, the only one that Poseidon looks up to was Hades, and this kind of thing. So that is when the chapter ends. So obviously we know that we're gonna get 2 chapters So probably the next, probably chapter 55 will be out tomorrow or later today. But they are, both of them are released. They will come. So next chapter will obviously be about so you know already. Next chapter is about the first reveal of Nostradamus and obviously Xishuangdi and all this kind of thing. The only thing I don't know yet about chapter 55 if we're gonna see they enter the arena if the end scene will be that we see Xishuangdi throwing up Ares in the sky and tell wherever I am, this is my throne and this kind of thing. This is interesting here. When Xishuangdi throws up Ares in the air, so then Ares land on his face on the ground. The interesting thing here is that before he throws up Ares, he stabs Ares very quickly in the side with one of his claws. If you see that in the picture, you see that very, very quickly he stabs him in the side. So what I think can be a possibility here, as talks before in my other two videos about Xishuangdi and Ragnarok and all this kind of thing, is a possibility here that that Xishuangdi have some kind of poison, some specific poison that will damage the gods. So what can be here is that his weapon is on the finger, is one of the Valkyries have already been placed on his finger, and we're probably gonna hear maybe this chapter or maybe next chapter a bit of backstory of the weapon, that Xishuangdi's weapon is poison, or maybe this sounds very strange, but maybe his weapon is based on some kind of mercury, because nothing's confirmed, but in speculation of history, they say that Xishuangdi's tomb around his tomb is floating mercury rivers where he's buried. And obviously this is not confirmed in any shape or form. This is just speculation here, story speculation. Nothing, we don't know, because we have never ever found Xishuangdi's tomb. The only thing that we find, the most famous thing we find from the Queen Dynasty, obviously, is the terracotta army. Not all of them, a part of the terracotta, not even a part, but a bit of the terracotta army they have found. So from there we know what kind of weapons, what kind of armor, what kind of status, and all this kind of thing of the generals and the soldiers. Obviously the design of the crossbow, the halberd weapon, the dagger axe, the spears, how the spears looks like, the heavy cavalry armor, the chariot, and all this kind of thing. So we know many things from that. But obviously, quickly here, obviously, this is absolutely not the first time they find a tomb. Tomb of a royalty in China. Obviously, they find from Fu Hao her tomb, the female general for the Shang army, and all this kind of thing. So obviously, what I think about Xishuangdi's design in Ragnarok obviously do not look like an emperor at all. They have nothing to do with Chinese ancient design, how they look in real history, with their clothing and obviously the silk. But obviously this is a manga, obviously, so they're gonna do their own style for the characters, obviously similar to the design for Nostradamus. And Nostradamus obviously don't look like this. Obviously Nostradamus, when we see depiction of Nostradamus on paintings, obviously he's an old man, and that is the only picture we have. We don't see any picture of Nostradamus, so I know about that when he is young and this kind of thing. So yeah, Nostradamus, Shishwangdi are the two new characters revealed, the two new humans revealed, and obviously Nostradamus probably gonna have a similar, not similar. What I mean with this is that Nostradamus and Adam will be the two humans that are have weapons, have abilities that are natural to them. They don't confuse with any Valkyrie like the other ones have done with their specific weapon. Nostradamus and Adam have have abilities before that, before even they join on the side in the Valkyrie battle, because for example, Aidan's ability is that he can copy everything he sees. So if every movement on this kind of thing, and Nostradamus have an ability very similar to Loki. We can say right now they are similar. That Nostradamus can transform to different people. Like for example, as Loki do. The only thing everything we don't know yet, if they have any differences, if they saw that Loki have to, I don't. That is the interesting thing here, because when Nostradamus throws off his clothing when he's transformed as Brunhilde, he just drew off his clothes then he turned back to Nostradamus. So what I think here is maybe it's a possibility that Nostradamus have some kind of clothing of that person he have to be. I don't know. I really do not know. Maybe we're gonna get explanation about that. What is the biggest differences between Loki's transformation to other people in comparison to Nostradamus' transformation to other people? So that means now we have two characters in Ragnarok that can transform to different people. So obviously I think that person that talked with Beelzebub is not Odin, that is Loki. That is just my speculation. And obviously, so then obviously the next fight will obviously be Hades against Shishwangdi. If nothing happened, that is the question here. The reason why I'm not 100% certain yet that Shishwangdi will fight against Hades is because of Nostradamus' ability to change form, to shapeshift. So it's absolutely a possibility here that Nostradamus when he comes to the room here, that the guy is not Shishwangdi, it's Nostradamus. That is just a wild speculation. That is not Shishwangdi. They absolutely can be Shishwangdi, but we also have to know before Nostradamus was in the room, but when they decide the combatants on the human side against the guards, and we know that Nostradamus probably maybe even click on some of the characters before the real Brunhilde come there. So that is the interesting thing here. There's something will happen that I'm certain about, but the interesting thing here, what I think, what I speculate, should I say more, is that something will interrupt the fight in some way. Maybe Shishwangdi is Nostradamus, maybe something else, but something will interrupt the fight. So I don't think we will see a full fight between Hades and Nostradamus. I think something will happen, and because that I don't think that have anything to do with Loki talking with Beelzebub. I think that what Loki my speculation, obviously, if that is Loki disguised as Odin. But what I think here, obviously, what Loki talks about is reckoning of Ragnarok. Is the end, the release of the big wolf, the big fire giant. Obviously, we already see the fire giant in the beginning of Thor's backstory. But what I think here that this is something bigger what Loki means when he talks about Beelzebub. That they have some plan for the future of the end. But so I think something will happen before the fight starts. Like probably all of them gonna go into the arena. This is Hades arena, obviously, because we see the skulls, the flying skulls, like the spooky things. So we see all of this, and they're probably gonna go into the arena, and then something will happen. I don't think we will see that in chapter 55. Probably the end of chapter 55 will be that when we see Shishwangdi sitting on the throne. If they don't have any more pages after that, I don't know. That is interesting. I don't know if you already have seen the full chapter 55. Yeah, but this almost you can say it's confirmed that the Hades and Shishwangdi will fight, but that do not mean that anything can happen. For example, we know from two other examples with when Shiva should fight Adam, that fight was interrupted, so Zeus take his place. The fight with Buddha and Zero, the demon Hajun takes Zero's place. So there is absolutely a possibility here. So what I think, obviously in the end of Reckoning of Ragnarok is that, so I always say before, is that Loki and Beelzebub will join forces with the devils of the underworld, and some of the gods will join the humans, and some of the gods will join the devils. And there will be like a big war. So I think the final chapters of Reckoning of Ragnarok, like the end, like I don't far in the future, in the end, that is what I think will happen. That is going to be a big war, and that is how everything ends. I don't think we're going to Reckoning of Ragnarok will end with different duels with different gods and different humans. I think this is like we're going to have maybe 3 more duels. And then something big will happen, and that big is have nothing to do, I think, with this battle or something totally different, and then something really like the end will come. So I absolutely think we will see Fenrir in Reckoning of Ragnarok. Some chapter we see Fenrir, and obviously I don't think we should suspect Fenrir to be the wolf that everybody think about, a big wolf with big teeth, like a black chain around his neck, and this kind of thing. I think we're gonna see something that is connected. But I think that is just my guess here. My speculation is that Fenrir will be human-like, but we have some thing to him that we recognize him, besides obviously the name, as Fenrir. And this coming, and that is really everything I want to say.